Hello. I'm continuing to go through my Puzzle GP puzzles in increasing point value order, and today's is a staple genre called Skyscrapers. It might be more familiar to most of you than the previous two I have covered, and in the rules, x equals 6 for this particular puzzle, and how the clues work is that each clue looks in a line towards the opposite edge of the grid and counts the amount of numbers that are greater than everything else encountered so far in that direction. As an example, let's work with this clue. So here is something that might be valid specifically for this tree clue. So it starts looking to the left and sees the first number no matter what it is. But then this one is hidden because 2 is larger. This one cannot be seen. But this 5 is greater than everything that comes before it. This 3 is hidden specifically due to this 5 coming before it. But this 6 is the largest value in this puzzle, so it will be seen no matter where it might be. And the largest value hides everything behind it from the opposite direction. So this tree clue will be seeing these three cells. I hope that's somewhat explanatory. I like small clue numbers most of the time, so a simple 2-3 theme was again useful. I think 2s are my favorite clue numbers, whatever the size is. And with that, I think we can begin. In most skyscrapers puzzles, tends to be a good idea to look for the largest buildings and then the next largest and so on. So I have highlighted all the places that cannot contain a 6, and if you look at the first row, there is a single cell that can contain a 6, and in the second row you only have 2, but 1 will be eliminated due to the first row 6. So you can immediately say this. You can check out this clue. Now the 6 is always seen no matter where it is, but this first number has to be so large that it hides everything else between itself and the 6. So this is 5. I'm just marking the used clues in green. So I mark this one because no matter what comes into this cell, it will fulfill the 2 clue. You can now continue looking for 6s. So in the last 2 rows, these cells cannot contain 6s, so these 4 cells will contain 2 6s, but there's a contradiction with the logic identical to this one. So if this 6 was all the way to the right, due to this 2 clue, you need to get a 5 here, but now you cannot fulfill this other 2 clue because there is 6 somewhere behind the 5. So the 6 is seen, the 5 is seen, and the first number, whatever it is also seen, and this is at least 3. Exactly 3, actually. So this cell cannot be a 6. This configuration must be correct. So these 4 cells will share 2 6s between them. So again, there's a possibility of this happening. If this is 6, then this will be a 5. But 6 can also be here, and you can hide the 5 behind it, but this still needs something at least as large as 4. So, not to belabor the point, but this cell can only contain a 4 or a 5. There isn't a single way to make progress, but what I'm seeing this time is that you can look for the 5 in this column. It cannot be in this cell because it will break this clue. It cannot be in this cell either because it will break this clue because the 6 is behind and it sees the 5 and this cell. It can be in these two cells. It cannot be here. It cannot be here due to this. So actually, these two cells share 5 and 6. It is a 5-6 pair, but this 2 still is forcing. If you do the wrong configuration, you see the 6 and the 5, and potentially even 2 more cells. So this is not good. This is the 6, this is the 5, this is the 6. Let's delete this. And now this 3 clue is in a similar situation because these are in order and in the furthest places possible. So this cell has to be large enough to hide these 3 cells. So it is the 4, it is the 5, and we have used both of these clues. We have all the 6s. Now we can keep looking to place the other 5s. So in this row, there's a single place that can contain a 5, and it's here. It cannot be here due to this 2. Now in the first row, similarly, these are unavailable, and neither is this cell, so 5 is here. Can mark these off. And in the second row, we can still do the same thing, and that satisfies this tree. And also this is okay, no matter what value comes into this cell. There's also other things you can do with the relationships between these numbers, but they are kind of hard to notate, so you can keep looking for the 4s now. For example, for this row, it cannot be these spots, and it cannot be here due to this clue. It cannot be here due to this clue. So this 4 is here. You can look for this column. It isn't here, here, here. It cannot be here due to this tree, because you will see the 4, the 5, the 6, and whatever is in here. And it cannot be here, both due to both these cells, these clues. So it's here. Can look for this column next. Its only possibilities are here, but this also runs into the same problem we just mentioned. So the 4 is here. Now you can check the last row. It can be here or here, though. I'm sorry. Yeah, this row first. Cannot be here, neither here, neither here, and now it's good. Now let's mark some of the clues we have used off. This clue is very helpful now. See the 6, see the 5. So this has to be large, as large as possible from the remaining numbers. And the 3, it has to hide this value, so it cannot be seen. So this is either a 1 or a 2, but also when you look at this clue, this value has to be large enough so that it hides the building here. So this cannot be a 1, it's a 2, this is a 1. And everything unravels from there. We need to satisfy this tree. We have used this and this. So 1, 2. You can check that we actually satisfied the remaining clues as well as a double check. So we have used all of the clue numbers. So it's just filling in remaining cells now. And we finished the puzzle. So team-wise, the team is obvious, but I also had some extra constraints placed on myself. You can see the beginnings of a symmetric placement theme in the vertical clues, which I later abandoned, but I was happy to separate the 2 and 3 pairs from each other with spaces. You can argue this one's kinda cheating with the diagonal touching, but still, I was happy to get this much done with the clues. And I think that's all for today. Thank you for tuning in, and I hope to see you again tomorrow.